Rob Kendall, along with Tyler Bless, the head coach of the Plainfield Quakers. Coach, how's it going?
Doing well. How are you?
Great. Obviously, big win on Friday night. It took a little while to get the train moving, but once it was a fine 31-7 victory, got to be pleased with the end result and start the season 1-0.
Yeah. I don't think we'll ever complain about winning, and whether it's by one or by 24, we're going to take it. So very happy with our process that we had on Friday. Like you said, it took a little bit to get going, but once we did, I really felt like we played complementary football and were able to come back to Plainfield Friday night 1-0.
So talk about the balance of attack. Obviously, it's something we had mentioned in the preseason. It was a run-heavy offense last year. You had the sort of two-headed approach. You just said, look, we're going to run right at you. It's your job to stop us. A much more balanced approach on Friday night.
Yeah, and I honestly think that was our goal. Obviously, those things are always easier said than done, especially when the game starts going. We got the ball in great field position to start our opening drive. I think we were like on the 32 or 33-yard line. Had positive plays, moved it down, converted on a fourth down. Throw an interception in the end zone on 4th and 5 where I'd like to have that back in terms of our protection. I think the concept was there, but Bryce had a guy in his face. But even with all that happening, come back to second drive, kind of get in some of our run-heavy formations, move it a little bit. I think we stalled out middle of the field. We punted. Defense did a great job of getting us the ball back. And then I think it was that third drive where we kind of started sprinkling in some run, some pass. I believe Luke scored on like a 3rd and 6 on a nice run where he, kept running his feet. And fortunately for us, he was able to slip through it and score. Really, after that third drive, that first score, kind of, I don't know, maybe it gets everybody's, monkey off the back or whatever the saying would be in terms of like, all right, now we can just go out and play. Got the ball back again, scored on a nice running back screen, and then, completed a nice 2-minute drill right before half to take a 19-point lead into halftime. So we're trying to be more balanced. I think we did a good job in the run game. I think there's areas for improvement, but I was pleased with our receivers and our quarterback of just taking what they give us, getting easy completions, put the ball in the playmaker's hand, and let those guys go do the rest of the work. So overall, happy with that. But that was intentional. I'm just glad I was able to work out that way on Friday night.
Is part of that, hey, look, you guys are a great team, and you can probably run your way to 8-1 or 7-2, but you say, hey, look, as we found out last year, once we get in the postseason, we start playing some of these teams, we got to be able to move in those 2-minute drills. We got to be able to show something else so that they can't, put 8-9 guys up there in the box. Is that part of what you're trying to accomplish, especially like you said, when you start feeling better about moving the football in the course of a football game?
Yeah. Well, I think you always want to, obviously this is a ways away, but it's always in the back of our mind. Each week we want to make progress and we want to be better than the week before, but really, we want to be playing our best football come, tournament time, whether that is like last year where we were, run heavy and had a great defense and they got takeaways and we ran into a little bit of a buzzsaw. This year, I think we have the ability to get into some run heavy formations. We have a great defense still, but now we have the ability to have some of those receivers that played last year that were, kind of inexperienced. They've got a season under their belt. Our quarterback's, a little bit more comfortable. He's confident in what he's doing, what we're asking him to do. So, yeah, you want to be playing your best football towards the end of the season, but right now we're focused on just, let's learn from Friday's film. Where can we be better at? Where, do we need to keep fine-tuning things and just moving in the right direction?
Obviously, the offense you put up 31 points total, but the defense only giving up 7. I think sometimes with Plainfield, especially with that great running attack you had last year, and then obviously Starnes again this year, the defense doesn't get a lot of the publicity it deserves, but that's an impressive start to the season, only giving up 7 points.
Yeah, really the unknown of week 1 on top of, them having a new head coach and just what were they going to call and what were they going to be, obviously from some of his previous stops on what they did. But overall, I was very happy with how our defense played. I thought our D-line did a really good job of containing their quarterbacks as much as possible. Thought our inside linebackers, veteran guys, Mason Mantooth, Jake Dellinger, were really solid. Tyler Simic and Blake Larison played outside linebackers on both sides. Things to clean up, but nothing that's, the sky's falling. And then really our back end did a really nice job of making sure they were keeping things in front of us. Well, we're not getting beat deep. The score that they did have was, a little bit frustrating because we stopped them and then we roughed the punter and got, extended that drive. So that was frustrating, but something to learn from. But overall, very pleased with our defense in terms of just going about their work week and how they did it. And then obviously the performance they had on Friday night. So very, very happy and proud of them for that.
So as a head coach, I'm curious on both sides of the ball, how into the nuance of the game are you, or does that take I have to go look at film afterwards because you're doing so many things? How aware, this is a horrible question, but hi, I'm in the media. How aware of you what's going on in terms of intricacies of the game on game night?
There's about 13 voices in my ear. Some belong to my own mind, and then our coaches on headsets. So with the ability for me to go back and forth and listen to our offensive coaches and listen to our defensive coaches, it's a little bit unique because obviously I'm calling the offense, but I also have a lot of trust in our offensive coaches. So they're, when we're on offense, that kind of works probably how you would imagine. There's somebody telling me the down and distance and telling me what personnel we're in, what yard line we're on. There's another person telling me, okay, hey, here's a thought for a run play. Here's a thought for a pass play. Sometimes I take those suggestions and we run with it. I kind of get, I guess, the final call, the final say. But honestly, I think all of our offensive staff work really well together. They've worked before with each other in previous seasons. I really hardly ever say anything on the defensive headset. I kind of, put my microphone up and listen. But for the most part, it's controlled chaos. There's plans in place. People are doing their jobs. Our coaches are coaching. We're not just, I don't think this at all, but I don't think we're just out there to, yelling just unseen things. So I do really think our coaches do a great job of in-game adjustments, and they do all this for the kids. So that's the cherry on top.
This would be a fascinating question. Well, fascinating for me. Okay, so how does the headset work? Do you guys have code names? Hey, this is Roger. This is Danny. How do you know who's talking to you? Because, like you said, you have so many people. Is there are they all coming in at the same time? How does the headset actually work?
So my headset, I'm the only one, and Coach Stallone, our special teams coordinator, are the only two that can go back and forth from offense to defense. So the guys that are on offense can just talk to the offensive coaches. The guys on defense can just talk to the defensive coaches. So that kind of cuts it down a little bit. So if I'm on offense, I can only hear the offensive coaches speaking. If I'm on defense, then I can only hear the defensive coaches speak.
And are you ever everyone just shut up? I have this. It's fine.
Here and there.
Okay, let's thank our sponsors who make Plainfield football broadcast possible all year long. Frigid Frog, New Wave Solutions, Gunnell Financial, Crone Family Construction, Adrenaline Fundraising, Crest Point Real Estate, Real Estate Coach P, Chris Pearson, Sell with Jones, the Stewart Home Group, Remax Centerstone, Julia Burbridge, Flora Brothers Painting, I-70 Wrecker Service and Garage, Units Moving and Portable Storage, Haynes Roofing and Remodeling LLC, Headquarters Barbershop, Edward Jones, Chris Hoskins, Ellis and Associates, BGW Construction, and Legacy Motorsports. So what I know we talked about this before, but obviously we have new listeners every year with new kids coming in and out of the program. Take us through, you win the game on Friday night. What is sort of the rest of Friday and the weekend then like for you and for the team?
Yeah, I mean, that game's a little bit unique. It's a 7:30 start. We're over an hour away from home base. So I don't even know what time the game got over, maybe 10 o'clock, 10:15. You try to get 15, 18-year-old boys to get dressed as fast as possible from the locker room and get on the bus just to kind of get out of Terre Haute. Our parent club did a great job of giving them food and drink on the way home. It's a quick turnaround. You get home from, the game, go home. Our JV was in at 9:30 yesterday for their game versus Terre Haute South, which they won 35-0. And our varsity came in at 9 o'clock for a quick team meeting, kind of a recap from me. And then we go down to the field house with Coach Vanderbush and get a workout in. They come back up here. We watch film, offensive and defensively separate for about an hour. And then, again, our parent club does a great job of bringing in, really kind of any type of breakfast. Yesterday was Jack's Donuts, was able to donate, I think, 7 boxes of donuts and fruit, which was huge. So that's kind of a treat for those guys to, once they finish watching film, go out to the end zone and watch, their teammates play in the JV game. So I think everyone was out of there by about 11:30, and then our JV game wrapped up, I think before 1 o'clock. So quick turnaround, but it's kind of part of it when you have away games, especially when they're that far away from home.
All right, Terre Haute South in the books. 1-0 to start the season. This week we'll be at home opener, Lafayette Harrison. What do the Raiders, who have been sort of a kind of a unique, fun little rivalry that's popped up the last few years, what do they bring to the table?
Yeah, I think this is the 6th time that we're going to play them since 2022. They have a new head coach, Kyler Holderfield. He was the offense coordinator the last couple of years, so kind of familiar offense that we went against last year. They've got some returners back. They've got a really athletic quarterback. They got some athletic, fast receivers. They're really big up front on offensive line. Defensively, again, they're pretty solid. They're kind of what they have been the last few years, where their D line's probably more active than years past. Linebackers are solid. Defensive backs are solid. So we're going to have our work cut out for us. They won Friday against West Lafayette, which I'm sure is a nice rivalry between those two schools. But to get them at home is huge for our home opener, for our student body and our school and our community. So, again, it's got to be another good week of practice for us and focusing on the process of earning the right to win, Monday through Thursday in practice, and then obviously doing those things on Friday, I think, like we were able to. But what I'm most anxious about is just seeing the week one, progress from week 2. Yes, we won 31-7 last Friday, and that's great, and that's awesome. We did some really good things, but, we've got plenty of things to clean up. So we need to make the week 1 to week 2 jump, and it needs to be, obviously a good one and not going backwards. And I would expect the same thing from Harrison. They're really well coached. They always have been. They have really good players. So it'll be a great game, like it has been the last couple of years with those guys.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. I heard somebody talk this about the NFL, and they said, hey, I think their bye week, whatever team it was week 4 or week 5. And they said it's perfect because it gives us X amount of games to figure out where our team is, and then a week to sort of evaluate that. And we're a fourth of the way through the year when we do that. Like, when do you start getting a feel for, like, how many games do you need to play before you say, okay, we do this really well. We got to do this better. We got to make changes. Like, how many games in before you start doing that, or you do it right away?
I mean, I think in a way you can do it right away. I was really pleased with our passing game on Friday. I knew we were capable of doing that. It's just one of those things, like, we have to go put it on tape and we've got to do it. I think we've got to clean up some things on special teams. That was a little bit of concern for us, but I think weekly and daily you're doing those things of like, okay, hey, this is something I thought was going to go well, or this is maybe a little bit of a surprise that we need to clean up. But I think, especially in high school, like it's so maybe not different, but like we're talking about high school kids who have to go to school and have to, that most of our guys have jobs on the weekends or after practice. So like comparing us to the NFL, that's great, but like those guys are getting paid millions of dollars and they're taking care of their bodies religiously. Not that we're not, but I think it's a little bit different just because of, kind of the time that they're in right now with their lives. But also that makes it really fun and exciting and a good challenge for a high school coach to get the most out of high school kids.
You ever have a job in high school?
Oh, yeah. My parents got me out of the house in 8th grade. They didn't want to see me. I worked at a golf course from basically 8th grade to college. It was like Caddyshack.
8th grade?
Yeah.
That's
14
very
years old.
that's very impressive. All right, Coach.
I was still the favorite though.
Hey, let's thank again our sponsors real quick that make our Plainfield football broadcast possible. Frigid Frog, New Wave Solutions, Gunnell Financial, Crone Family Construction, Adrenaline Fundraising, Crest Point Real Estate Coach P, Chris Pearson, Sell with Jones, Stewart Home Group, Remax Centerstone, Julia Burbridge, Flora Brothers Painting, I-70 Record Service and Garage, Units Moving and Portable Storage, Haynes Roofing and Remodeling LLC, Headquarters Barbershop, Edward Jones, Chris Hoskins, Ellis and Associates, BGW Construction, and Legacy Motorsports. All right, Coach, final message to the fans, to the players, and everybody else before we head into Friday night against Lafayette Harrison.
Yeah, the first time we're going to do this, this is Mr. Schwenekamp's idea, and obviously he has my support and our football program support. He's going to tag along with our cheer coach, Alice, in Tabasco, but I think we're going to do our very first, what we would call or going to call Yale practice on Thursday night at 7 o'clock in the stadium. So this is for the students in the student section, trying to kind of tie it into maybe like a college like Texas A&M, Texas Tech, kind of cheer practice along with the student body section on Thursday night to get them ready to go for Friday's home opener. So that is going to be new for our students. I believe the incentive to get kids to come there is that they can come in to the game early and get priority seating in the student section. So off the top of my head, I cannot remember the theme. I know Friday's theme was USA, which is always a great start. But we'll have a theme for this game. I don't know what it is. I should. But that is something new, and I'm excited about just to see, kind of our student section and our student body continue to, make things important. And we're trying to, make sure every kid has an opportunity to do something here at Plainfield High School, whether that's a club, an athletic team, or be a part of a really, awesome cheer section on Friday nights. So that's new, and I'm excited about that. Other than that, we've got to buy into the process of doing the things that it takes to win on Friday night, and that's showing up tomorrow for school and getting a great lift in, and then getting in the meetings and getting into our scouting report and asking good questions, and then having good 2 work days on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then kind of having a more mental day on Thursday and be ready to roll on Friday. So it looks weather-wise, it looks awesome. I just walked outside and feels like a very brisk fall morning. So I'm excited for it.
All right, Coach, great win week 1. It's always a privilege to do the show with you, cover the games on Friday night. Let's get a big win coming up this Friday. We'll look forward to talking to you next week about being 2-0.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rob. Have a good week.